So, what is it that makes a ghost story really stick with you? I mean, is it that sudden shock, the one that makes your heart pound out of your chest? Or is it something deeper? Something that kind of crawls under your skin and just stays there? Well, today we're going to tear horror apart to find out.
Okay, let's start with a jolt. This line, it's from a short horror story called Evil Nun, and it has exactly one job: to scare you, and to scare you fast. There's no buildup, no deep characters, nope. Just a new house, a dark closet, and bam, red eyes. It's your classic jump scare, right? It gets your adrenaline pumping, and then it's over. But does that feeling last?
And that right there, that's the big question we're tackling in this explainer. What is the real difference between that quick shot of adrenaline and a story that genuinely haunts you, a story that becomes a legend? To figure this out, we're going to put two totally different approaches to horror head to head.
So, how do we really get to the heart of what makes us tick and what makes us scared? We're going to dissect two completely different ghost stories. First up, the lightning-fast shock of Evil Nun, and then we'll dive into the slow-burning dread of The Haunted Lighthouse. By comparing them, we can really start to see what makes some scary stories just fade away, while others stick with us forever.
So check this out. Here are our two stories, side by side. Evil Nun is like a shot of espresso. It's short, it's shocking, and it's over in a flash. It's all about that immediate physical reaction. The Haunted Lighthouse, though, that's a whole different animal. It's a slow burn. It takes its time, building characters you actually care about, and a mystery that really pulls you in. See, it's not just trying to make you jump, it's trying to make you feel something.
So let's dive deep into our main case study, The Haunted Lighthouse. Because this story, it isn't just about a ghost, it's about a man who's haunted by his own memories.
Let me introduce you to Ganga. He's a fisherman in Goa, but honestly, he's terrible at it. While all the other guys are pulling in nets full of fish, Ganga, he pulls in coconuts, broken sandals, and yeah, even creepy toy monkeys. As you can imagine, the other villagers mock him relentlessly. They call him a coward, a total failure. His entire life is just defined by this cloud of bad luck and this deep, paralyzing fear that he's been carrying for decades.
So you gotta ask, where did this all start? Well, we have to go back 30 years ago. When Ganga was just a teenager, he saw something in that lighthouse that absolutely shattered his world. And this wasn't just a fleeting scare. This was a trauma that has shaped his entire life, leaving him totally isolated and just paralyzed by fear.
I want you to really try and picture this night. Imagine you're 15 years old. A brutal storm is crashing down outside. You and your dad are inside this lighthouse. And then, out of nowhere, a swarm of bats attacks. And then, you see it. A third shadow on the wall. One that doesn't belong to you or your father. Before you can even process what's happening, a rope flies through the air, wraps itself around your dad's neck, and you can only watch, completely frozen, as he's dragged to the window and thrown out. That is the memory that is seared into Ganga's mind. But, a story like this can't stay buried in the past forever. Now, we're at the turning point. This is where our hero is forced to finally confront the source of his 3-decade-long nightmare. And the catalyst? It's history repeating itself in the most horrific way. A boy comes running to the shore, just screaming that another body is hanging from the lighthouse window. And that news, it hits Ganga like a physical blow. It's the exact same way his father died. The mockery from the villagers gets even worse, but this time, something inside him just snaps. The past is no longer just a memory, it's a very active threat.
But really, where does a man who's lived in fear for 30 years find the courage to fight back? Well, it comes from a memory of his father. As all the villagers' taunts are echoing in his mind, he remembers what his dad told him that night. His name, Ganga, is the same as the mighty Ganges River. And how can a force of nature like that be afraid of anyone?
And with those words playing in his head, something shifts in Ganga. He walks to the shore, that word coward just ringing in his ears. But this time, his father's voice is louder. He finds that spark of courage, walks right up to the lighthouse, and with this incredible surge of strength, he pushes open the door that has been sealed shut for 30 years. He's finally ready to face his demons.
Okay, so stepping into the lighthouse is one thing, but surviving what's inside, that's a whole other ballgame. The confrontation Ganga has been dreading his whole life is about to happen, but it is not going to go the way anyone expects. Inside, it's just total chaos. The ghost attacks, objects are flying, and then a rope snakes around Ganga's neck, just like it did to his father.
As he's being dragged towards the window, pretty much accepting his own death, he takes one last swig from his bottle of Fini, it's a local liquor, and just hurls it in defiance. But get this, the bottle doesn't shatter, it stops, dead, in midair, and a white smoke, the ghost, is sucked right inside. Ganga, the coward, has just accidentally discovered he has an incredible hidden power.
With the ghost trapped, everything changes. This isn't just some random monster anymore. We learn that this is a vengeful spirit, a soul that's been wronged so badly it can't find peace. You see, it's not just evil, it's in pain.
And the ghost story is an absolute tragedy of betrayal. His name was Anthony. He was a lighthouse guard 50 years ago, and he and his partner found a treasure chest, but his partner, just consumed by greed, murdered him and stole the treasure. So for 50 long years, Anthony's spirit has been trapped in that lighthouse, just lashing out in anger and pain.
So understanding the ghost's past, it changes everything. It sets the stage for the final act, where Ganga doesn't just conquer a monster, he completes his own transformation from a figure of pity into a figure of power.
30 years. Just let that sink in. That's how long Ganga has lived with this soul-crushing fear. And in one single night, by finally facing the source of that trauma head-on, he sets himself free.
I mean, talk about a complete transformation. The man who was once a victim of his past is now a protector of the future. He didn't just defeat the ghost, he became its keeper. He literally turned his greatest fear into his greatest strength.
So what does Ganga do with this newfound power? He doesn't destroy the ghost. No. Instead, he gives it peace. By locking the spirit away in a chest, he not only ends the curse on the lighthouse, but he also breaks the cycle of fear that has haunted him for his entire adult life. So let's circle all the way back to our original question. We've seen the quick shock, and we've seen the slow burn. So what does this comparison tell us about why we seek out these stories in the first place, and which ones are the ones that truly stay with us?
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, the quick scare, like Evil Nun, is a physical experience. It's a jolt to your system, a rush of adrenaline, and that's about it. But the lasting legend, like the haunted lighthouse, that's an emotional journey. It taps into our empathy, our own fears, and even our hopes. It's not just about being scared. It's about understanding why we're scared. And that, right there, is what makes a story truly unforgettable.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time you hear a ghost story, ask yourself, what's the real monster here? Is it the creature hiding in the shadows, or is it the memory that we all carry around inside of us? Because the scariest stories, the ones that truly last, aren't the ones that just make you jump. They're the ones that make you look in the mirror.